Okay, should we get started? Good afternoon, everybody. Thanks for joining us for our first Lunch and Learn webinar. Today, we've got a marketing clinic aimed at shopping centre managers and people in retail and placemaking. We're going to be looking at some case studies, and we're going to be inviting lots of questions. This is a clinic, so we want to hear your questions. We want to help you as much as we possibly can. Rather than me doing long introductions, I'd just like to go around the panel so you know who everybody is and you know who you can pose your questions to. So shall we kick off? Chloe, if you'd like to start.
Of course. Hello, I'm Chloe Keith. I'm Managing Director of Toolbox Marketing. For those of you that haven't heard of us before, we're creative and strategic marketing specialists in the shopping centre and place environment in the UK and Europe. The business is 20 years old. We celebrated our 20th birthday last year, however, yet to have a party due to the pandemic. And I've been with the business 9 years.
Okay, Dave, would you like to go next?
Hello, yes, good afternoon. My name's David Robertson. I'm the Centre Manager for Culver Square Shopping Centre in Colchester. It's an M&G owned shopping centre, and I work for CBRE, who manage the centre on their behalf.
Brilliant, thank you. Kim, would you like to go next? Sorry, I should have put you next to Chloe, would have made more sense.
I'm Kim. I work as the account director at Toolbox Group. I've been there for 13 years now, working alongside Chloe in the marketing team.
Brilliant, thank you. And last but very much not least, Sabri, would you like to go next?
I love being last. Always the way. Welcome to my kitchen. Hello, everybody. My name is Sabri. For those of you who do not know me, I am the Asset Director at Edmonton Green Shopping Centre in Enfield. I work for Crosstree Real Estate Partners, who are a private equity firm based in Mayfair.
Fantastic, thank you. And we really would welcome questions throughout. So you can either pop them in the chat or you can put them in the Q&A box, whichever is easiest for you. But I'm going to hand over to Chloe now. She's got some slides to share with you. And then please do fire away any questions, because we do want this to be as participative as possible. Thank you.
So I'm hoping that 1 year on, I've learned how to use Zoom properly and that everyone can see my shared screen okay, which is rather bright and pink. And thank you to Nikki for wearing a Toolbox pink coloured jumper today, whereas Kim and I have let the side down. But today I'll be talking about marketing best practice, and I hope to provoke some thoughts and spark some ideas as we count down to reopening take 3. So if you read all of the reports in the news and listen to conversations on social media, it's clear that there's going to be a spending boom in physical spaces because people are really excited. They want to get out and about. Whilst that's encouraging and positive, we do need to consider how we're going to maintain footfall and spend offline when the UK has become so used to shopping online and from the comfort of their sofa. So after lockdown 1 and 2, we saw a rise in mission-based shopping. Those venturing out were keeping visits short and sweet. Dwell time was a thing of the past, but ATV was up. And post-lockdown 3, people are bored. They've got money to spend. The weather's looking brighter and confidence is growing, especially amongst the older age groups due to the vaccination drive. So what does it mean for marketing? It does mean that those responsible for marketing, whether that's an agency, an in-house person, or if you're a centre manager or a centre administrator delivering marketing, it does mean that those responsible for marketing and communication over the past year have had to be flexible with their strategies and agile with their plans, and that is set to continue. It's important to clearly define our objectives for marketing efforts to make sure that the delivery is effective and that we achieve the desired results. So monitoring and reviewing regularly is vital as we navigate the fundamental changes that COVID has brought. So we're going to talk a lot today about community. So community is key. If we look at the definition of community, it's a group of people existing in a place, and that place can be your shopping centre or high street or town centre, and they share a purpose, a sense of belonging and communicating with each other. So if we translate that to some kind of key areas to focus on, places should be passionate about being able to support their community. And creating partnerships with key stakeholders in the local area isn't just about making the centre look good. The reason that you're supporting your community should be with the aim of having meaningful impact, and that can be measured in various ways. And it also translates into doing something that improves your customers, so your people's lives, or that makes your community a better place. And that's what we're trying to achieve. So it's a place where residents and workers want to spend time and money, and where they feel safe, importantly, and that they want to be a part of it as well. Now, I love a quote, so I've pulled out 4 of my favourite quotes linked to community. So first up is, alone we can do so little, but together we can do so much. And that's very true, especially when marketing budgets are already stretched, or they've been cut, or in some instances, they've been paused or are non-existent. Quote number 2. People don't buy goods and services, they buy relations, stories and magic. And this is where marketing kicks in. So it links back to people wanting experiences and not just stuff anymore. So the stories, the customer service, they all add to a better, more valuable and more memorable experience in your place and your community. Next up, on number 3, the most beautiful things in life are not just things. They're people and places, memories and pictures, they're feelings and moments and smiles and laughter. So similar to the previous quote, you need to show that you care about your people in your place, creating those memories and moments, and then the smiles and laughter will follow. And then number 4, it's not a quote as such, but it's a tweet, but hats off to Kirsten on this one. So the number 1 marketing tip of 2019, 2020, 2021, and also beyond is to stop marketing and start helping. So we should always be putting the community first always, and people first always. And that's what we should strive to do. Put our customers first and make sure we add that human touch. No cookie cutter approaches to marketing or communication efforts. Now, in a recent article by Forbes, they said, when you buy local, you're supporting your community, keeping the money where the most effective change can be seen. And we've seen this over the past year very much with the support local, shop local, love local movement. It's gaining more and more momentum, and it's more and more important than ever to local communities. So to make sure that you're benefiting off the back of this, talk to your tenants and your customers and extract those stories to tell, and then use your digital channels, your in-centre channels and local influencers to tell those stories. Now, when I was putting this presentation together, it turns out there's lots of C's that we should be considering when we're developing our community-centred communications. So I'm just going to talk through a few of them this afternoon. So communication, you can turn it up or you can turn it down, but you should never really turn it off. Pause it if you need to, but make sure that you're always communicating with your community and your customers, which leads me on to customers. So your customers need to be at the heart of everything you do. Make sure you always put them first when you're developing your marketing strategy and your marketing plans. Time to celebrate. So you can celebrate the good, but you should also celebrate the bad and celebrate the ugly. It's what makes your place unique. So make sure that you're celebrating all of those quirks in your place that mean something to your community. Collaboration. Now, we've seen a lot of this pre-COVID, during COVID, and it's set to continue post-COVID. So the collaborative effect and the approach makes smaller or reduced budgets go further, helping you to achieve more and helping your collaborative partners achieve more as well. Not forgetting culture. Make sure you're inclusive in your efforts and celebrate your place's DNA through all that makes it special. CSR or charity or cause related all begin with C conveniently, but make sure that you're doing it because you care and because you want to make a difference, not just to tick a box. And be creative. You can have fun. So some of our best and wildest and wackiest marketing ideas have achieved significant results for our clients. So get creative, be creative, and think creative. Make your place and your efforts unique and make them memorable to stand out from the crowd. And it's more important than ever to stand out from the crowd now to make sure you're diverting your customers away from online shopping and also the competition that could be right on your doorstep. Also make sure you address consideration. So make sure when you're considering these marketing efforts that it's relevant. Think about the benefits that you want to achieve as well as the results, and show that you care. So another C there, care as well. And convenience. So you can benefit from being convenient, but make sure that you are. So consider your shopper journey. How are your shoppers traveling to you? Are they driving? Are they walking? Are they cycling? Is it convenient for them to reach you? What are their bugbears? How can you make that customer journey smoother and keep your customers shopping conveniently on your doorstep? And last out of all of the C's is consistent. Make sure that you're consistent or you're constant to remain top of mind. When we're saying top of mind is that you're always in your customers' lives, whether that's on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, popping into their inbox through a direct e-flyer, if you're on the radio, if you're in the local newspaper, and then when they're on site, where are those customer touch points through marketing efforts? So lots of C's there and lots of reasons to consider for your marketing efforts. So then talking about delivery. So as we all know, marketing touches everything in a shopping centre environment, from leasing to customer service to that walk this way directional signage, and everything in between. Marketing touches upon it at some point. So make sure when you're delivering, you try a few things out. So sometimes trial and error. What works and how can you improve it if it does work? What didn't work? Why didn't it work? And how can you improve it for the future? Or is it just a lost cause and you need to forget about it? So trial and error is key in this marketing mix. Make sure that you're constantly reinventing. Don't do the same event or campaign or initiative every year or every month. You know, reinvent and really think about what you're delivering to keep it fresh. Also, make sure that you react quickly. So most people online on social media want a response within an hour. So make sure you can offer that to them. You know, digital channels are key, social media, the website, you can react quickly, and make sure you are. So you're remaining top of mind and you're keeping your customers happy and informed. We've found that little and often that almost kind of drip feed approach is key to marketing. Don't hang your marketing efforts in your hat on, 3 key events over the year. Intertwine in between lots of different and smaller initiatives and activity to make sure, you're constant and you're constantly there and reinventing yourselves in your customers' eyes. And through all of these marketing efforts and delivery, make sure that you're being supportive. Think about, is it relevant to your customers' lives and how can you support them and help them in their day-to-day lives? Their lives have been turned upside down over the past year, so show that you care and that you can help them. So other things to consider, everything you do or say should ideally be unique to your place. So I know that's a big ask, but you know your places really well, as do your customers. So you can filter that through into your marketing efforts and make it really unique to your place. So if you think about clicks versus bricks and how you divert those sales away from online, how can you do it? Is it through like rewarding loyalty? Is it through making people smile, like handing out flowers or chocolates as they return after the 12th of April? Can you do it through highlighting reasons to visit? So is there, a brand new coffee in your local coffee shop? Has your florist got some brand new flowers in that are super exciting and on trend? Have your fashion stores, got the latest spring summer fashion in? What is it? What are those unique reasons to visit that are linked to your tenants, but also to your place as well? Is it that your toilets have had a makeover? Is it something to do with the environment? Just think about all those stories and reasons that you can highlight through your channels and make sure you do that through your marketing efforts. And through that, demonstrate the benefits of people visiting your place rather than sitting and clicking at home from their sofa or from their bed. The positive thing is that we are social creatures. We do want to get back into that physical shopping space post the 12th of April. we almost want to capture that Primark effect. So Primark haven't been trading online during lockdown. And I saw a fantastic tweet the other day, which was, is anyone desperate for Primark pajamas and £1 thongs? So I think people were going to be going out to Primark, and that Primark effect is going to filter through into our shopping centres and our high streets. And we also want to capture that home bargains effect, I like to call it, where you just pop in for one thing and you come out with a whole basket or trolley load of things. That's what we want people to do. We want them to pop in because they've run out of shampoo, but we want them to visit more tenants in your physical space whilst they're there buying their shampoo, you know, like those treat me purchases. That's what we really want to do. And that's what we can celebrate in a physical space going forward. We've also seen a shift. We've seen it referred to as doorstep living, where people are now working or socialising where they live rather than where they used to work. So this has created a shift in habits and spend, and that's something that you can maximise on in your community space going forward as the work from home trend is set to continue over the next few months. And placemaking, you know, it's a word and a phrase that was bounded about before COVID. It's been even more important during COVID, and it'll be important post-COVID as well. And this is all about celebrating your place and putting it on the map and encouraging people to visit your place for certain reasons. So make sure we celebrate it going forward. And just a thought, and this is something that we've been doing over the past year, is yes, you can measure your marketing efforts and return on investment through the usual channels, you know, engagements on social media, visits to your website, plus the more physical ones of footfall and spend. But how about thinking about measuring your campaigns differently, like thinking about the number of smiles that you generated or laughs or memories. So making sure you're bringing that human factor through into your marketing measurables. Next up is the partnership approach. So we're better together. Working with key stakeholders and partners in the community makes our efforts, reach and our results greater, especially with reduced staff and reduced budgets due to the pandemic. Everyone could do with a helping hand. And that's to address issues in the local area that were either there before COVID or have been caused by the pandemic as well. So think about and ask yourself, your stakeholders, who are they? Have they changed over the past year? Who can you be talking to? Who can you be engaging with? Who can you be supporting in your community? Charities, who are they? Who are you supporting? How are you supporting? And why are you supporting them? And filter that through into your marketing efforts. Not forgetting schools and colleges and universities that are on your doorstep in your community. They're your shoppers of the future. They're living on your doorstep, so engage with them and get them involved. Whether that's thinking about, you know, what your shopping centre may look like in 50 years' time, or whether it's getting them to come up with some creative and colourful visuals for empty units going forward. But make sure you engage with your future shoppers. And bids, you know, they're super important to our towns and our cities. So work collaboratively with them to attract people to your town or city. So what we like to do is think about if you attract people to your shopping centre, you want to attract them to that town and city and vice versa. So every visit to a town or a city then generates a visit to your shopping place. So they work hand in hand. So make sure you consider that in your efforts going forward as well. A few success stories we've had over the past year. So digital engagement has been key. We have had to move the majority of our key trading efforts online and think creatively and differently about how we engage our customers. We found that spin the wheels and advent calendars have been highly successful. And just to add that, remember that advent calendars are for life, not just for Christmas. So that countdown effect can really help mark key trading or reopening occasions in a different and engaging way. Rewards and thank yous. So whether it's a local community hero, a teacher or a mum, our engagement on campaigns where we've been saying thank you has been a huge success. During lockdown 1, we posted out almost 5,000 postcards, sending hugs to loved ones, and we've received hundreds, if not thousands, of nominations for superheroes in the community. So rewarding and saying thank you has been a huge success for us over the past year, mainly on digital channels. We've made sure that we've been providing hope. So positive and hopeful messaging across our digital channels has gone a long way over a gloomy year. So have fun, be funny, make people laugh. That's key to your engaging content moving forward still. Future thinking, so countdowns and looking forward to the return to a physical space has formed a key part of our marketing strategies and plans over the past year, as has thinking differently, cleverly outside the toolbox to deliver those traditional marketing efforts in a post-COVID world. So it's all shifted, it's changed completely. We've also found that nostalgia and memories has been a big trend over the past year for us. So simple competitions like guessing the price of a shopping basket in the Price is Right campaign, or guess how many Easter eggs are in the basket, are really good content and engagement generators on our social media channels, as are our Throwback Thursday posts, reflecting on a pre-COVID world and what you used to get up to in a shopping centre or a place, and what you're hoping to get back to into the future as well. We've made sure that the stories are good news stories, so no doom scrolling. I think people got stuck in a rut and just, they were surrounded by this period of doom and gloom. So we've stopped doom scrolling and we've continued to put positive stories and thoughtful messages out as well. And top of mind, so people on average spend around 5 hours a day on their phone. So make the most of it to ensure you're top of mind for when people can return to your physical space. So just to wrap up everything I've been saying, it's my best bit of advice is to put yourself in your customer's shoes. We're all consumers. So think about what your customers want to do, hear, see, feel, and experience in a post-pandemic world where we can once again shop, eat, play, and stay in a physical space, and translate that into your marketing. So over the past few weeks, we've been providing a 5-week countdown toolkit to reopening, and I'm happy to share that with you after this event, or just hop onto the Toolbox marketing channels and you can see our hints and tips for communicating in the lead up to reopening. But before I go, and I've run this past Nikki, I've just got 2 questions, and I'll kickstart with the first one. So you can use the comments box to share your answers. And I very much want to know what your thoughts are about physical events. So what are they going to look like after the 12th of April? Are they going to look like what's on the screen at the moment? Or are the days of Peppa Pig meet and greets, those student shopping events and those kids clubs, are they over, or do we need to rethink them? So I'll be interested to see what your comments are. And I'll just run question 2 past you as well. Happy to see your thoughts and opinions on this, but it's, do you think that physical and online shopping are going to learn to live together? Is there a happily ever after? And can we predict what that's going to look like today? So that's it from me. I will hand over. Nikki, do you want to?
Yes, please. Yeah, I just want to.
Back to you.
Thanks so much, Chloe. That was really great, really interesting.
Thank you.
Definitely talking about experiences, not stuff. I've seen that so many times on all of my social media, yes, and I definitely think that's that's what everybody is looking forward to. I just want to pull in quickly because it meets up with your first question, Chloe. So Alan has asked, what are the panel's views regarding on-site events restarting in terms of starting dates, type and size? He says that he's looking at smaller events with no fixed times initially, then building to larger events in the autumn and the winter. So since that kind of answers your first question, or is a discussion around your first question, do you have any kind of thoughts on that? What Alan's doing, do you think that sounds like a sound idea, or does anyone else have any input that they'd like to share on the panel?
I'm going to pass to Kim on that one because
Okay.
she is the giver of events and has some thoughts of what we're going to be doing going forward.
Lovely.
I would definitely agree with Alan that removing fixed times is a great way forward, because although we all want people to visit the centres, we don't want any mass numbers of people coming at once. And so taking away the traditional time restrictions on events really is the best way forward. Certainly up until, I personally would say up until late October, Christmas time would be, the time that hopefully we'll be able to consider driving higher footfall numbers. But even then, I don't think it will be Christmas as it used to be this year. I think we still are going to have to be really cautious and leave room for that social distancing within the centres, and making sure people don't get put off by an event. There can be a lot of people that are still nervous about leaving their homes and that don't want to go somewhere that's going to be overly crowded. So although on one hand you're driving the footfall, you're also deterring other people from coming along by putting on an event. So it's getting that balance right and providing a reason to visit that's not going to deter other people. Oh, Nikki, you're on mute.
I know, got it, sorry. Thank you for that, Kim. Sabri, I know you had a question for Chloe.
Yeah, first of all, Peppa Pig is definitely going to be back. It is not the end. I can absolutely assure you. Otherwise, I've got 4 very, very upset children if that's going to be the case. Just to follow on from what Kim just said, and yeah, I absolutely agree with that. I mean, in terms of the way that we are mapping through our marketing event strategy over the next 2 to 3 years, actually trying to make sure that we're continually in a proactive state, is very much, there's a lot of small online competitions, community related stuff that's going on now and will continue to go on now, because let's be honest, that's much more easier to control from a social distancing perspective and an enhanced cleaning regime perspective. But at our next bigger date, where I think we're going to kind of go to a test to see if it really works, it is around about the October or so time. So we want to be testing before the Christmas period. We're hoping that the vaccination program continues to work out extremely well throughout the UK. We're even kind of, we've got our hats on. Can we actually have a grotto this Christmas? Maybe, maybe not. We're still very much hoping we can do. But our test bed will definitely be that October event. In terms of my question, sorry, to Chloe, obviously you've got clients up and down the country. It's an interesting point that I would like to kind of get your view on, is how have you seen budgets change over the last 12 months, and what's your kind of prediction for things going forwards?
Okay, so that's an interesting one. I think we've had a very mixed bag over the past year. I think pretty much all of our clients continue to spend with us. So we are given in our role a marketing budget that we control over the year. We write a strategy, we write marketing plans, and we found that we were pretty much changing them daily last year. The positive thing is that people were continuing to spend. So when I said it was important to continually communicate, you can turn it up or down, but you should never really turn it off. So that does require some level of budget to continue those marketing efforts. That said, probably only about 30% of our clients continue to spend at their pre-COVID marketing budget. The others were reduced. There was a pause from March probably through until May kind of time last year. Then we saw it creep up, and then we saw it drop again, and now we're starting to see it creep up again. So it's one of those questions, and marketing budgets are normally the first ones to go and to be cut to save money. But it doesn't mean that you can't deliver marketing. We've talked about, those partnerships with stakeholders. You can still have those conversations and still deliver marketing on a smaller or reduced budget. It's going to peak and trough, and I think it's important just to make sure that there is a marketing budget there to support that. We're seeing the rise of turnover rents. So to make sure that your tenants are getting that turnover, there needs to be some level of marketing efforts there to attract people to your place, to get them to spend money, to increase their turnover, to make the rent more beneficial. So you can see how it's all connected. So yeah, don't cut marketing budgets.
For the record, I absolutely agree with you.
Thank
100%
you.
do not cut marketing budgets.
Absolutely. Thanks for that, Chloe. So I'd like to move on to Dave now, because I'm really conscious of the time. We're getting some fantastic questions coming through. So I do want to make sure we've got time for questions. So if it's all right with you, Dave, if you could stop sharing your screen, please, Chloe. And then Dave can share his.
Okay, can you see that?
Yes, all good.
Perfect. So I hopefully there's a consensus across the panel and all the participants that community engagement is important. Certainly M&G, who own our centre, and CBRE, both see the value in community engagement and support this on both a national and a local level. We engage with One Great Day, Mental Health Week, but as sort of been discussed already, it's not necessarily do you have to do these huge big events. You can do the smaller, real community focused events. And just going to go through a few of our events that we did last year, with COVID obviously in mind, but in the past we've done the big footfall driving fundraising type events. But going forward, I hope and I sort of see that we're going to get back to that. But this is our COVID impacted ones that we did last year. So the first one was we worked together with a local group who did made lots of masks. Obviously, masks were very important at the beginning. And they came into the centre and we supported them, and they were giving masks away to raise money. And you can see from the results that a very small event like this drove a lot of engagement. We had 64% increase to our website and 894% increase in our social media engagement. And this was just a really small event that just really engage with the community. Just people like to talk about what engages with them. They like to talk about things that interest them, and this sort of thing really captured their imagination of this group of women who in their spare time, some of them were teachers, some of them were nurses that weren't able to work because they were shielding. It really captured the imagination of the community, and it didn't cost any marketing budget, so it was a win-win. This one did cost marketing budget, and this was something that Kim organised. So Kim is my account director for Toolbox Marketing for Culver Square. This was fantastic. We asked the community to nominate local heroes, and then it was voted on of who were the heroes, and Kim bespoked some presents for them. So talked to their family and friends about what their interests were, and put this pack together for them to gift them, and it was just wonderful. And then we, with their permission, we created some banners for this and dressed the ugly crowd control barriers we had around our shopping centre, and we dressed those with the winners, and that just allowed another level of engagement. So when we did reopen again, members of the public could see what local heroes there had been. Again, a lovely exercise done by Kim, and really base level community. Going back to sort of discussion a minute ago where we talked about, events that drive a crowd. We did a couple of things last year where we tried to drive sustained footfall but not create a crowd. And there were two things we did. This being one of them, where we did the ceiling of colour, and it was a couple of our shopping centres across the CBRE M&G portfolio did this, including Cwmbran up in Wales did it beautifully, and it was a bit of a nod to the NHS with that rainbow. So again, it was of its time. It was really well timed. So it was when everybody was going outside clapping for the NHS, when there was lots of rainbows being put up in windows and painted on pavements, and it again engaged with our community, and it again just triggered a real good community sense of inclusion across social media, as well as driving footfall into the centre when we opened, but not in a crowd creating way. So that, again, with the results there, 1,000 engagements on social media drove more traffic to the website. So, sort of picking up on that, we talked about the community engagement and our customers, but actually this is really important to our retailers as well, because it's the marketing budget that's paying for this, and they want to see some return on investment. So it drives footfall to the shopping centre and spend, which is important. But it's also very important to our managing agent, which is us, CBRE. It's really important to us as a business to do this, but also to our landlords, because investors who invest in the funds that buy our shopping centres are increasingly looking for this community engagement. So I don't want to use the term ticks a box, because it's just box ticking, but it actually meets a lot of objectives of our landlords, our agents, ourselves, CBRE, our shop retailers who are paying the service charge, as well as our consumers. It meets a lot of objectives. And again, the community engagement is not just about charity. So we partner with our local authority to support things like air quality improvements, so sustainability, energy reduction, waste initiatives, and we do all this sort of engagement so our consumers can see actually that we're ethical in the way we manage our shopping centre, which is all still really good community engagement. It's not just about raising money for charities. So this was an event we did supporting clean air in Colchester. Not such great results in terms of press coverage, but a really important message that we did. And our big success for last year, again along the lines of sustained footfall rather than creating an event, was we built this magical Christmas castle, but we partnered with our local theatre to do it. So there's a really good backstory where we were supporting their freelance staff, keeping them in work. We raised money for our local theatre, which is going through a redevelopment. And it's a real sense of community at Christmas and driving footfall. We were lucky we were open in December, being a tier 2, tier 3, but it meant that we were able to open in December. So our retail really did need supporting, and this drove a lot of footfall, but in a real sustained way. So, that's a sort of variety of the type of community stuff we do. In the past, we've done the real big footfall driving ones, such as our Invasion Colchester Day, which raises, over sort of 15,000, 20,000 pounds for a local charity. And again, a lot of smaller stuff. So I think it's really on the agenda going forward to do more community stuff, and it's certainly in our planning to do more of this type of activity as we go through the year. And our first one being Mental Health Week, which is coming up soon, and we're planning on an art installation and working with the community to do some creative writing and some artwork, and then maybe do an art display of that as we go forward. So I hope I've kept within my 15 minutes, and if there's any questions to ask, please do.
Thanks so much, Dave. There's some really, really great examples there. I loved that magical castle. I bet you can imagine the delight of the kids walking past that, especially since Christmas was so strange last year. Sabri, I'd like to talk to you next, because I know that you do a lot of community engagement at your centre at Edmonton Green, and you won the IWFM award for engaging with the community and so on. So do you want to just share some tips, examples of things that you've done in the past that some of our attendees on this webinar could replicate themselves or take advice from?
Yeah, sure. More than happy to do so. I think it very much goes back to Chloe's initial presentation, where right in the central pink circle, we have the word community. We've owned the shopping centre for just over 2 years or so now, and it was very evident very early on that whatever we do within that scheme now and also into the future is going to have a positive impact on the community. So we made sure that we actually built that into our marketing strategy, and that actually became the fundamental part of it. So it's very much less about let's do an event for the sake of doing an event, and the kind of old school, and this is before COVID, bearing in mind, look, do we just put on a fashion show because that's what everybody else does? Do we run a Halloween event just because everybody else does? And we kind of said, well, no, let's actually take a complete step back and actually look at what does the community really want and need. And actually that started with us engaging, I think in probably month 2 or month 3 actually, in how the local community, local residents, businesses, stakeholders, what did they actually want to see within the shopping centre, and how could we improve their experience? And it does come back to things like the entertainment factor, people enjoying, literally want to be there, to have fun, to see smiles on people's faces, that kind of surprise and delight element that I think has gone down extremely well for us during the last 2.5 years or so. And when COVID kicked in, it became ever more important that we had to, as responsible landlords, to step up to the plate and do what we had to do. So we engaged with well in excess of 20 or 30 different local community and charitable organizations. We helped residents that were on site with food packages, and I'm happy to share after this a list of the various different things that we did. But it culminated in us very nicely to receive an award at the end of the year from IWFM and also the Estates Gazette for everything that we'd done. And for us, it definitely was not ticking a box. We didn't even know an awards category existed at that time. It was just about doing the right thing. And we've made that kind of conscious decision to ensure that continues. Even when COVID's disappeared, it will go. We will return to some form of new normality where we do have the in-house, in-mail events like we used to, maybe slightly tweaked, but they will definitely still be there. But we want to make sure that whatever we do going forward always has the community at the heart of it. We have continued to invest in marketing throughout the period. We didn't cut our budgets, and actually we're doubling down. New budget service charge year is about to start imminently, and we're actually investing more money because we completely understand the importance of the reason we're doing this. We're not doing marketing just to do marketing. We're doing it to attract people to the scheme, make sure they're continually coming back, and making sure that they're enjoying it when they're here, but actually that they're transacting. Let's take it all the way back to the beginning of the kind of the asset management portal. We need people here to spend money in our shops, so we have to be able to have a direct link between whatever we do to make sure that the retailers are being successful. And now is absolutely important time not to scale it back. You've absolutely got to invest in it. Our retailers need it now more than ever. And I think one of the things that has worked quite well at Edmonton is that the role that I play is effectively overseeing asset management, property management, and general management, which means there's no arguments about saving money. We've got a great managing agent that works with us. We work with Ashdown Phillips. They run the centre management team on site, but we're absolutely fully aligned in terms of our vision as to what is the right thing for Edmonton Green. And I just think that makes for much easier conversations, because there is no them and us. There's no landlords trying to cut the budget, or actually we need to squeeze it because times are tough. Yeah, times are tough. And if we need to find savings, we'll find savings in other areas, not areas that will impact upon our retailers and community.
Wonderful, thank you. Thanks for that, Sabri. I just want to get on to a few questions, and there's a couple that have got a similar ring to them. So Michelle Buxton has asked, how will you bring safety first into your marketing? And Caroline Mantle has also said that the aggressive and positive vaccine rollout has led to increased confidence, so much so that we've witnessed mask fatigue where shoppers feel they no longer need to wear them. How can we best positively message the safety comms while still balancing and promoting the joy of returning to a physical shopping space? I think this is probably going to be on most people's minds at the moment. So Chloe, do you have any thoughts on how to effectively share, you know, positive communications around these issues?
Yeah, I think we've done some work around messaging for our customers, whether it's in the physical space through posters, floor vinyls, pull-up banners, and we've also done some work on our digital channels as well. It's that whole shop smart, stay safe message. And it's delivering it in a friendly way. So the last thing you want is people rocking up in your shopping centre and seeing all these red, yellow, black kind of warning messages. It needs to stand out, but it needs to be kind of sympathetic to the surroundings and to what people have just experienced over the past year as well. So encouraging people to shop smartly, and that is, you know, be considerate of others, try and keep 2 meters away, make sure you're wearing your masks. And it helps everyone stay safe and everyone continue to remain open and getting closer back to that kind of normal world that we used to live in. So it's, yeah, shop smart, stay safe through kind of the whole customer journey at all touch points. And from a marketing effort, that's what I would say. I guess Dave and Sabri may have a different view from a more operational or kind of enforcing that wearing of face masks. So I will pass to whoever would like to take that.
Yeah, I'll jump in there for a little bit. I think fundamentally anything we do, we need to plan with safety in mind first. And we, like I would imagine all other shopping centres, are busy putting our plans together now with comms, not just for the landlord, but also comms for our consumers, our customers, or our customers' customers. And that'll be a combination of FAQs, answering questions, sending the positive message that we're safe, we welcome you back, we're ready when you are, and then there is a real reliance on our retailers as well. So we will communicate with our retailers to ensure that they've got procedures in place. So they continue this time to do the sanitizing and asking people to put masks on when they come in. I absolutely agree with Carolyn that there is fatigue. You know, my centre's pretty much closed as it is at the moment, and I look out my window and actually the age group in the middle of the centre drinking coffee must all be over 65. I think everybody's had their vaccine now and think they're immune. But it will be a continual reinforcement of that message through POS in the shopping centre, but also working with your retailers to reinforce when people want to go into your schemes and into your shops. So it is going to be a tough one, and I think that the point that Sabri made, or sorry, no, I think it was Kim made earlier. You know, we need to make sure that we keep everybody happy. So whilst we're going to have people who are, you know, COVID deniers or anti-maskers, or, you know, there's a lot of people that still are nervous, and they're the ones that we need to reassure as well. So it's something we do need to just continually reinforce with our social media, our digital, as well as what we're doing on site. And we've got to lead by example as well. You know, if we're out in the public mall, we've got to be wearing masks, and all your staff have to be wearing masks. So that's something else we'll be doing.
Have you got anything to add there, Sabri?
Yeah, I just reiterate what they've just said. Definitely that leading from example. You know, very early on that we, you know, everyone has to wear. It's non-negotiable point. You know, you absolutely have to, unless there's a medical reason why you're exempt. You know, we even took. You know, we've got we've actually got 2 COVID testing facilities on site. We've got a drive-through that we've allowed the local authority to utilise. We've also got a, you know, walk-in testing facility that, you know, all of our teams without fail once a week will do. You know, we're encouraging continually to make sure that message is there. And for me, I do think it's about education. You know, we cannot force people to wear masks. That's not our role as owners of shopping centres or managers of shopping centres. I genuinely don't believe we should start throwing people out that will refuse to wear masks. That's just a very difficult road to go down, and actually brings up memories of people with hoods and throwing people out, and, you know, all that kind of debate that probably took place about 10 or 15 years ago. But I think it's just about that continual positive reinforcement of what we're doing, why we're doing it. It's all about doing it for the greater good.
And from public confidence point of view, I mean, will you be increasing your cleaning team so they're a lot more visible to give people public confidence and that kind of thing? Is that something that you're kind of both considering?
Yeah, so we've actually done that pretty much throughout the COVID period. I mean, we've been quite lucky in terms of our scheme that it's part open, part enclosed. You know, it's a 26-acre site. It's really wide. It's a very, you know, airy place to be. So actually, we haven't really shut down. Today, I've got 82 retailers open and trading. You know, last week we had over 156,000 people come through. So, you know, that's an annualized 8 million footfall. So it's still very, very busy in Edmonton. Not as busy as it was. We're still around about 30 or so % down on where we were pre-COVID levels. So we've had to, in a strange kind of way, we're not going through the gearing up to reopen. We're already reopened, and we've been all the way throughout the period. So we've had to continually adjust our, you know, operational protocols in terms of security, in terms of cleaning, you know, enhanced regimes for, you know, major touch points or the public toilets, the play areas, the kiddies rides, all of that kind of stuff we've had to do all throughout the period. And there's definitely there'll be no reason for us to stop it, that's for sure.
Okay, brilliant, thank you. I'd like to get to another question on another subject now, please. So John Nash has asked, how do we overcome the bad publicity generated when sending out levy payment letters when stores have been closed for the best part of the year? Are there any hacks or any advice as to how people should be handling this? Obviously very sensitive.
I'll jump in there as well, if you, unless Sabri. I'm a director of our Colchester bid, and I know that's a real tough thing to be doing, is sending out those levy letters, the levy payment letters. But what we've done is, in fact, our bid is has been really supportive of businesses throughout this pandemic. They've helped people make their grant applications. They've taken the lead in the reopening of the town centre with stickering and everything else. So I think that the advice, if it's a bid that you're looking for advice, is if you can demonstrate the value of your bid in a report or whatever to send out with those levy payments, or certainly distribute it to the levy list in advance of the levy payment going out or levy demand going out, it will really demonstrate the value of what your bid has achieved and why it's important to still support it. And our levy demand went out towards the end of last year, and I think our levy collection rate is up in the 80%. So that really shows how well the Colchester bid has supported businesses throughout this pandemic, and how they've been able to engage with those businesses to demonstrate how supportive they've been. You're always going to get people who don't pay. You're always going to get people who challenge it, and I doubt if very many bids out there get 100% levy collection rate. But what's important is collecting enough money to be able to continue to support businesses going forward, because actually it's the next phase of reopening that is the most important, trying to drive more footfall back into the town centre to support your businesses, especially for your hospitality industry, who it's been catastrophic for. So, you know, demonstrating what you've done over the COVID period, but also showing what your plans are going forward and why it's so important to pay your levy. So I hope that answers the bid question. I know Sabri wants to.
Yeah, thanks, Dave. You probably guessed I'd have something to say on this topic. It's absolutely all about engagement. And actually, the way that we are answering this question about bid levy is exactly the same approach we should have been taking, and I'm presuming we have with all of our, you know, all of our tenants and operators. You know, we should not just be, there's my normal, you know, quarterly rent demand, because that was never going to work throughout the process. You have to have engaged very, very early on, have supported through the entire process. So reiterating the point you just said, Dave, you know, in terms of our retailers, we did exactly that. You know, before any rent demands turned up, we spoke to them. A senior member of the team discussed with the retailers why certain, you know, charges had to be. You know, if there was things that we could do to support in terms of rent concessions, we did on a one-by-one basis, actually taking into consideration whether or not they were actually closed, were they open, could they trade a little bit, what was the situation. But yeah, just sending out a levy letter for 100% was never going to work, or in my opinion wouldn't work. It does definitely need to go back to that continual engagement. You know, it worked for us in terms of rent collections. So throughout the COVID period, we managed to collect just over 86% of our rents, and I can guarantee that was because of the engagement strategy we put in place. I reckon we've been lucky to hit 50% prior to that point if we just sent things out and expected people to pay. So, you know, I think in terms of the bid specifically, we have to get people to understand it's all about the greater good. You know, what is the reason for a bid in the first place? Why did you vote for it in the first place? Technically, nothing's changed. Yes, it's a tough time, but now's not the time to cut back on it. If anything, we need that money to be able to deliver the opening up strategy, which is effectively going to bring people back into our town centres and back into our shopping centres. Don't cut it now, because otherwise, where are you going to be left with? I know nobody likes paying a bill. We don't like paying a bill at home, so why would you like paying a bill at bill at work? But you know, there's certain things that are inevitable in life, and this is one, from my opinion, in terms of bids. It's got to be about the greater good, and the better you can deliver and articulate that message as to the reason why we're doing it going forward, and the reason why we've had to bill, you know, over the last 12-month period. It's the same as service charges. You know, lots of operators just presumed if you're closed, they don't have to pay service charge. Well, you kind of do, because you know there's still some security there, there's still cleaning, there's still maintenance, there's still marketing, there's a million of other things. Yes, now I appreciate that, you know, we're not still running at the 100% level, or we won't be, because you can tweak certain levels throughout the year, and when you do a reconciliation at the end, then you know there may be a balancing charge that comes back to you, but you can't just expect that things stop because you're closed. That's just not, life just doesn't work that way.
Absolutely. Thank you for that. Just time for one last quick question. So this is from Lee Barnfield. He says, we see the footfall of retail and shopping centres follow the same trend of peaks and troughs as marketing trends. Should shopping centres go full digital, accurate footfall counting and digital intrusion? Question mark. Chloe?
I'll take this one quickly. I think there's always going to be kind of peaks and troughs, and there's different factors that are going to contribute to those peaks and troughs going forward. Whether it's trends, key trading, what you can or can't do, what the government say, but it also, you know, boils down to paydays, what the weather's like as well. So there's lots of different factors that contribute to those peaks and troughs through, you know, just trend, spend and marketing efforts as well. The digital comment, I think, you know, digital measurement and digital solutions make it easier to measure and to report and to improve. So there's no harm in bringing all of those digital factors in. I think it's just weighing up the cost against the benefits. So digital and physical, you know, that they're learning to live together, whether that's in a shopping environment or, you know, at people's points in their lives. Digital things are replacing physical things, you know, like drone deliveries, for example. So it's, you know, digital and physical learn to live together. If you want to introduce digital things, great, make sure it's value for money, but the data that you extract share it. Don't keep it to yourself. Share it across all departments and people and roles within that shopping centre environment to help improve going forward.
Brilliant. Thank you so much. And we're at 1:30. That was our lunch and learn hour. Thank you so much, Chloe, Dave, Sabri and Kim for joining us. I have popped in the chat that there will be a recording of this, which you can get 48 hours after this event, but every attendee will get a follow-up email with the link to where the recording will be. And obviously I'll share that with you guys as well, Chloe, David and Sabri and Kim, if you need that. So thanks very much for joining us. I hope you've got a lot out of today, and wish you all a lovely afternoon, and enjoy the rest of your week. Take care. Bye-bye, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.